Welcome back into Exit 99 Sports. As always, my name is Caleb Deloach, and this is just about going to be our last really full, multi-sport recap episode. We are getting down to the wire here. It's the last week of May as I'm recording now. We have eliminated several teams in baseball. Well, we've got one baseball team left. We've got one soccer team left. We've got a couple of track state championships to still look ahead to, but outside of that, we are done, man. We're at the end of the year. Graduation's already happened. Graduation parties have already happened. We just got kids still hanging around, playing a few sports. After school's already out, man. School's done. It's going to be an exciting last week, but it is just about the last week or so. Well, we have a couple weeks left, I guess, in total because we've got a little bit of time for the soccer Final Four to start. But in the meantime, we will jump in. We'll recap how some seasons ended here, talk about this last week, and get started with baseball. So starting with baseball, Class 3, District 2, this is where Saxony is. Saxony was the 2 seed coming into their district. First round, they took on Arcadia Valley. Beat Arcadia Valley 5-1. Pretty good Arcadia Valley team, so nice win by the Crusaders. It was a big Zach Roth game. He went all 7 innings, only gave up 2 hits, struck out 13 batters, and helped himself out. He had a sacrifice fly early, came back up, 3-run home run. So he accounted for 4 RBIs and had a complete game, 2-hitter, 13 strikeout game. So Zach Roth dominated in this ball game pretty much individually for Saxon. He got it done by himself. And then they moved on to the championship. In the championship, they had to take on Scott City. Scott City, one of the very, very best teams in the entire state. They are super talented, super loaded. They're going to have a ton of kids on. They're going to have kids on all state teams, things like that. So a very, very big time showdown. This was a rematch from earlier in the season, where Scott City ended up kind of handling Saxony. It was close, low scoring early on, but then Scott City broke it open late and got a big kind of lopsided victory over the Crusaders. This time it did not go that way. This was a true pitcher's duel, but unfortunately it is Scott City that comes up on top. They win 2-0 over the Crusaders. That does end Saxony's season, according to Misha, 17-5. Really, really good year, man. The final year for head coach Paul Sander, which is tough, which is sad to see. He's been around for quite a few years over at Saxony. They named the field after him this season, which is a really, really cool honor for him and very well deserved. I mean, he's, built that program for a very, very long time. He is the foundation on which they're going to be doing anything for the future. So congrats to Coach Sander on a great season, great career. Shout out to him. Obviously, in the game, shout out to the pitching staff. Obviously, Eli Radaman, James Hope, they combined to go 6 innings, gave up 2 hits, 1 earned run. They struck out 6. But unfortunately, on the offensive side, Saxony was held to 3 hits, could not really get on base as much. And just Scott City won the small ball battle, unfortunately. So Scott City moves on. They are in the Class 3 playoffs. By talking to you right now, kind of behind the scenes here, is Tuesday, May 26th. We probably have final scores if I look for them, but Kelly and Scott City are probably playing right now, I assume. Might be over by the time I'm talking to you. It's 6 p.m. currently. So we'll move up to Class 4. Class 4 is where Notre Dame resides, so it's kind of nicely broken up here. We've got, in baseball, it's Saxony's in 3, Notre Dame in 4, Cape in 5, Jackson in 6. Not like that in every sport, but it is cool whenever that does happen. So Class 4, District 1, Notre Dame came in as a heavy favorite. They'd played most of the teams below them, at least the next 2 seeds below them, and have won handily, if memory serves. And that continued in the semifinals. They had a bye through the first round. Donovan advanced, and they blew out Donovan, 15-0, run ruled them. Houston Crawford, Jack Jansen combined to pitch 1 hitter, 4 innings, 8 Ks. TJ Bolin, McCown, they each had 3 RBIs, so that was 6 of them combined between those 2 guys. A lot of players stepped up, got his. They just battered this Donovan team to 15 runs. And that punched their ticket to the championship, which, once again, I looked at them as a pretty heavy favorite going into their district championship. It was going to be against Dexter, who won the other semifinal over Kennett. And to no surprise of my own, Notre Dame did end up winning 7-1. They gave the ball to TJ Bolin. He took care of business, gave up 1 earned, went all 7 innings, struck out 10, only gave up 5 hits throughout the ball game. So TJ just doing what he'd done all season long, dominating on the mound, timely hitting, really, really good at the plate as well as on the mound. Chase Lawson, he led the team with 3 hits in this one. He had a triple, an RBI. Just really, really good hitting all around, up and down the lineup, pretty consistent up and down. But like I said, Chase Lawson, 3 for 3 to kind of lead the way there at the top of the lineup for Notre Dame, and they punched their ticket to the playoffs. So Saxony's season comes to a close there in the district title game. However, Notre Dame moving on into the Class 4 sectionals. Take a step up to Class 5. That is Cape Central. Cape Central was the 5 seed coming in. I believe in the last episode I talked about it was a really wide open district, in my opinion. You could have told me just about anybody won, anybody made it to the district championship game, and I wouldn't have necessarily been surprised. And with that, there was a lot of upsets in this district. So before we talk about the Cape game, they were playing Sykeston. So Cape's a 5 seed playing Sykeston, the 4 seed. You had 2 seed Farmington lost to the 7 seed DeSoto 3-1. In the 6 seed Hillsboro beat Poplar Bluff, who's a 3, 6-3. So like I kind of said, and this was maybe not expected to be this crazy, but there's so much parity. I mean, the worst team is an 11-15 DeSoto team that beat Cape pretty easily earlier in the year. And, you know, Cape had 18 wins. The top 3 all had 19, Festus, Farmington, Bluff. Sykeston was a 14-win team. Hillsboro was sitting at 500. And so this is a very wide-open district, and a lot of them have seen each other already as well, so that plays a factor. But in the first round, it was Cape and Sykeston. Cape does get the win over Sykeston in the first round, 4-2. Alex Owasco, a couple of hits in that one, 2 for 3. He had an RBI, but you kind of expect it whenever you put Chapman Ogles out there that you're going to have a good chance to win if the offense just gives you anything, because Ogles been lights out all season long. This was no exception. He goes all 7 innings, gives up 4 hits, 1 earned run, 10 Ks in the ball game, and helps Cape move on to the semifinals. They move and they match up with Festus. I believe the game was at Farmington. Festus was 1 seed. They had a bye. And just didn't go Cape's way, right? They lose on a walk-off walk. It kind of a tough way to go out. You know, it was a weird ending, right? You can. I'm very open to any complaints that any Cape fans have. I was sitting there kind of stunned as it all happened. Cape fell behind early. They took the early lead. They went up 1-0. Then Festus put up 3 runs in the bottom of the second. Cape kind of clawed back, put up 1 in the third, 1 in the fifth to even it up. Festus then goes up 4-3 in the bottom of the sixth. Cape comes up. They even it. And then Festus in the bottom of the seventh gets the, like I said, walk. Funky game. You know, Hayden Bowers goes 2 for 4. He's the only multi-hit guy in the ball game. Christian McNew, he does have 2 RBIs to lead the team there. But weird deal there late. Cape kind of got robbed. There was a balk, non-balk, out, not out, redo. We had a redo. We had a redo in a high school baseball game in the playoffs, which was not something you see a lot of. So kind of going off the dome here. The Cape had a runner on third, obviously, and one of the umpires, I think the home plate umpire, called a balk on the pitcher, which was in a run, and it was a steal attempt of home, basically, by the central player, and they didn't really throw a pitch is kind of the way I understood it. And like the runner was tagged out, but before he got tagged out, they called a balk. And then everybody was complaining. Festus actually technically protested the call. And so there's like a long deliberation period. We're getting rule books. We're reading rule books. I was listening to the whole thing. Ryan Winkler was calling the game up there for Cape. I was listening to him. It was just a weird deal. Sounds like it was just absolute chaos. Unfortunately, the Tigers do kind of get screwed, in my opinion, out of that ball game. And obviously, you just know, like, you know how it goes. As soon as you get screwed out of a run, and you're going to flip it to the bottom of the inning, and you know the other team's going to win it and walk it off there, and that is what happened. I want to say it was 3 straight singles and then a walk. Unfortunately, no hate to the kid. He had to come in off the bench in relief because the starting pitcher, Caden Chenoweth, who pitched pretty well, he had reached the limit there with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th inning. He had to come out. You bring in a kid straight into the ball game. He's bases loaded, and just couldn't get out of the inning. It's highly unfortunate, but it is what it is. And so Cape Central season ends in, like I said, very brutal fashion. Good year for the Tigers, honestly. It's kind of stinks because, it's like how much of the positivity can you carry over? They finished 19-15 as the final record. I mean, I guess this is the time to do it, but, you say, hey, this is a great first season under Coach Williams, first season again. Him and Coach Haynes, they combined, they had a great season, but like I said, how replicable is it? Because look at this, like, these are all the seniors that are graduating, okay? You've got Hayden Bowers, Caden Chenoweth, Zaid Hickey, Christian McNew, Chapman Ogles, Colton and Connor Poole, and Jathan Spain. For anybody that's watched or seen any Cape Central baseball this past season, I just said basically the entire pitching staff and 90% of the offense this season's walking out the door, right? There's good pieces coming back. There's pieces I really like, guys that had big impacts. John Trueblood, Aiden McGuire. I'm just going to scroll down here. Zach Dowdy. There's guys that did things. There's guys that played well. Iwuchukwu, he played well this season. He got to start. He's a younger guy, but yeah, I mean you're losing a massive part of this Cape Central team. Obviously, I expect good things. Cape Central rarely just falls completely off. They have very few seasons where they're just terrible, regardless, because they're going to have good players. This area produces pretty good baseball talent. There's a lot of travel teams, so kids are always playing things like that. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to come back from this season. Like I said, you're losing Jathan Spain, who's an elite power hitter, just an elite athlete all around. Chapman Ogles, an unbelievable pitcher. It was almost a scheduled win whenever he came out, or dang near close to it. Christian McNew, catcher, very, very clutch hitter. Zaid Hickey he was a very, very good hitter. Chenoweth, good two-way talent, pitching and hitting. Had a really good year on the mound this year. Last season, I watched him pitch a few games. He made a huge jump pitching this season. Really, really impressed. Hayden Bowers also did a good job on the mound and a really, really good hitter for the team as well. So, I mean, you're losing a lot. You're losing a whole lot, but you got to just trust the process. This is how this works. Kids graduate. You got to find new pieces to come fill their spot. But, man, Cape Central might feel it a little bit, I think, going into next year. Excuse me. Got to have a sweet tea break here. And we'll go to Class 6 playoffs, and that is Jackson. I told you last time I did this, I came straight from calling their game against Fox. So I talked about it on the last episode. They beat Fox in the first round. Jackson was the 1 seed. They beat Fox 5-4. They went up early. They put up 4 runs in the first inning. I thought it was going to be a run rule game. When Fox made a pitching change, they put in a kid who was just nasty. He just shoved for the next 6 innings. Jackson got very fortunate to put up one more run on him of insurance there late because Fox pushed him. They pushed him to the very end, losing by 1. Carter Shipman did a great job starting out. He had 6 strikeouts to begin the game. The first 6 batters he faced were strikeouts. Finished with 12 Ks on the ball game, but yeah, it was tough. It was tough early on. It didn't give me a lot of hope going into the semifinals, and Jackson, speaking of, things kind of being stacked against them a little bit, they played a true road game in the semifinals as the 1 seed in the district. They played at Lindbergh, and the Indians come up short 5-1 in that one. The offense just couldn't get going. It's kind of is what it is. Lindbergh did a pretty good job offensively. I think they hit a home run at one point in the game, but the offense just couldn't get going, and that's just how it goes in baseball. Anybody can beat anybody. It's not a surprising outcome. Lindbergh is a very good program. It was another district where, obviously I wanted Jackson to win it, but you have Oakville, you have Jackson, you have Lindbergh, you have Vianney. So, there were 4 or 5 teams that I was pretty, confident any of them could win the district. And unfortunately for Jackson, it did not go their way. Good year for the Indians, 25-9. Another phenomenal season. I think I saw a graphic online where they had won 20-plus ball games for a decade straight. So, that's incredible. It's really, really consistent stuff over there at Jackson. That is through a couple of different coaches as well. I know Coach Roach has been there since, 23? And then before that, Coach Kitchen. I don't know if that stretches all the way back to Coach Austin or not. But, yeah, it's a really, really good year by the Indians. I forgot to mention Seckman as well. That's another team there. But, yeah, in Jackson's district, it's 25-9. They're a team that's going to be losing quite a bit as well. They had several guys who were going to come back that made a big impact, but, you do lose Ryan Turlington, who was really, really strong out of the bullpen, Carter Shipman, Drew Parsons, who were probably your 2 best pitchers in the staff. Obviously, Parsons was your ace. He's going to SEMO. Shipman's playing at the next level. You lose your middle infield combo, Noah Moore at second base, Adler Flynn at shortstop. He was very, very good at the top of the order. And speaking of that, Matt Carter also moving on through graduation. He was a big-time bat at the top of the order as well. Had a really, really good season. So you lose a lot if you are the Indians, but they do have more guys coming back that did make a pretty big impact throughout the year. I'm just looking through the list, by age. Caleb Schlick was a good arm out of the pen. Nolan Roach, Cash Rhodes, both played well. Brody Meyer, hitting and pitching, did a good job. Then you have a guy like Dawson Eftink, who's one of, he's probably statistically the best player, in the area this year. He hit, I think, like 560 on the season. He broke records for hits and things like that at Jackson. So he had a heck of a year. Keegan Bruggeman, Grant Brown, Nolan Atkinson. So there's a lot of guys up and down this list who made big impacts. And, it is Jackson, so they have a lot of depth. I'm sure their JV was chock full of guys who were waiting their turn behind some of these guys I mentioned graduating. So I have a little bit more optimism there. And, like I mentioned, when you go a decade straight of 20-plus wins, I give you a little bit longer leash, I would say. So that's it for baseball, right? We've got one team alive. That is Notre Dame. They are in the sectional round. And wait a second. We've had some weird stuff going on there as far as that goes. So we'll talk about that here momentarily. So back to the last show, girls soccer. I left us off. We had some games pushed back. Jackson had just beaten Lindbergh in the first round of districts. Great win, all that jazz. So we'll start back right around showtime. Saxony, their season gets put to an end. They lose to Lutheran South 5-1 in Class 2, District 1. first round. Saxony season comes up to a close. You move up to Class 3. That's where Cape Central is. Central had a tough draw. They're the 7 seed. They're playing the 2 seed, Melville. Melville was also the host, so Cape was playing a true road game up there at Melville. They hung in there. Honestly, it's that moral victory stuff, but they lose 3-0 at Melville. Melville, fun fact, has gone on to win the district, so they lost to the team that won the district. So a little bit no harm, no foul. Tough year for the Tigers. I'm hoping they bounce back next season, have a little bit stronger year. Jump up then finally, or we'll jump up to Class 4, District 1. So I mentioned Jackson this past week, last episode. They beat Lindbergh, really, really nice win, revenge game, all that jazz. But I said it leads to a very, very tough place in the semifinals, which is playing Corhezu. Corhezu is most recent check. They are the number 1 team in America. They are the best girls soccer team in the United States. They have the best individual player in the United States of America, Maddie DiMaria. So I didn't have the utmost confidence that Jackson would move on, but I said, hey, let's go junk it up, make it interesting. Jackson does get blown out in the end, 8-1. Rachel Berger had the lone goal. Jackson does end their season at 12-5. Now that's another one. They do lose a little bit. Their team was a weird mix of basically seniors and freshmen. It felt like was kind of how the majority of the team laid out. So they lose a good group there in that senior class. Rudy Klund, you lose a lot. And Emma Larson, both of them up front. You lose a lot at the back end. I know with Dawes, Stelling, Sauerbrunn, they all graduate. Let's see who else did I miss here? No, that was it. So you lose those 5 seniors, all big members of the team, obviously. But like I said, you have an unreal group of young girls on this team. I had so statistically on the season, leading goal scorer, Adeline Abernathy, 14 goals, freshman. Second on the team, Bryn Banderman, freshman, 10 goals. So you lose Rudy Klund, who had 8. Rachel Berger's back. Tinsley Murley scored 6 goals. She's back. So, you have a lot of talent. Addison Crooks, she scored 5 goals. She's only a sophomore. So, you have so much talent in that freshman-sophomore class, all coming back next season. Now, you do lose your 3 leaders in assist. But once again, Abernathy had 6. Crooks had 5. Banderman had 5. So, Jackson's another one. Jackson Soccer is another one where, they don't rebuild. They just have unbelievable season after unbelievable season. This is the lowest win total. They finished 12-5. So, they only played 17 games, which is the lowest amount of games they've played in a long time, which is kind of a weird deal. But this is a program that has won. This is the lowest total they've won since as far back as the Misha records go. So since 2009, up until this year, the lowest win total, they went 13-8 in 2012. This year they go 12-5. So they're going to be just fine, I think, as well. So, but they do lose there to Corhezu, get blown out. Corhezu does go on. They did win the district, I saw. So another team kind of losing to the big dogs in the district. So then finally, Class 1, District 1 is where we find Notre Dame, which is still really weird to me. Notre Dame being in Class 1 doesn't make sense. Not being in the same district as Cape, as they have been the last several years, playing each other up here in Cape. Weird. And also Saxony being in a bigger class than Notre Dame in a sport. Also really weird and doesn't make any sense. But we ride, and maybe thanks to being in Class 1, District 1, which kind of stinks, Notre Dame has just bludgeoned their way into the Final Four. So let me pull this back up. They won every game in their district in blowouts. They won their first round game was 8-0 over Hancock. Then they move on to the semifinals. They play the 4 seed, the Collegiate School of Med Bioscience, 6-0. That was the closest game of districts. And in the championship, which was, for me, when I'm recording this, it was yesterday for me, they win 9-1 over Principia, which my joke was Principia hasn't decided to be good at girls soccer yet. For those that follow basketball, you understand. So yeah, Notre Dame just murdered everybody in Class 1, District 1. Yeah, it's tough. It's very, very one-sided, and they just bulldoze their way through everyone. That does set up a Final Four appearance for them. So that's very cool. I believe so regardless, they'll be playing 2 games here. There's a third place game in soccer. Early games, by the way. So Notre Dame, they're in the semifinals. They're taking on Duchesne. So Duchesne is a good team. You look at the most recent state soccer rankings. Duchesne is number 1 in Class 1. You look up and down the schedule. They've played pretty good competition. For comparison's sake, they played at Jackson. They lost they did not play Jackson. I'm looking at Notre Dame's schedule because I am a dunce. So anyway, they played Duchesne. Duchesne 12-7-1. Historically, we have one meeting between them also in the state tournament back in 2017. Notre Dame won that one 2-0. All time, Duchesne has 6 state championships in 09, 13, 14, 15, 16. Pretty nice run. And 19. They got 3rd in 2017. They finished 4th a couple of times. They finished 4th in 08 and 1989. So a lot of history there. Obviously, they're a smaller school. They kind of hang around those lower classifications. So they're 12-7-1. They've lost to some teams that are kind of stinkers as well, though. But they play some decent competition. They play a lot of the suburban St. Louis teams. They play St. Dominic. Looks like they played most of the St. Charles schools, Incarnate Word. They played Parkway schools, Pattonville, Father Tolton. So they've gone around a little bit. They've played around the St. Louis area to the tune of a pretty successful season. Obviously, Class 1 team playing against the schedule they have is going to be tough. You're going to pick up losses, but they've gotten here. They blew out their first-round matchup 9-0, then a 5-0 win, and then it took double overtime. So they beat Veritas Christian Academy 1-0 in double overtime in their district championship game. So, and yes, the way it works, lower classification, they have bigger district tournaments. So you win your district, you're immediately into the Final Four. So that's cool. But, yeah, Notre Dame, the game's going to be played up into worldwide technology, something or the other. Fenton, Missouri, up in St. Louis. I like Notre Dame here. I feel like Notre Dame is going to win a state title. If you ask me, if I was making a bet here on how this goes, I really favor them in this spot. It's a really good spot for them. They have a lot of time off. They do not play again until June 5th. So 2 Fridays from now they play. So a lot of time off. These kids are just going to be practicing a lot over summer break, I guess. So shout out to them. All the seniors who have just been out of school for 2 weeks, you just get to keep showing up to high school every day. So that's fun. They play June 5th. They immediately turn around. They play June 5th at 10 o'clock in the morning, which is stupid and sucks. But I've complained enough the last year and a half about how Misha schedules these state tournament matchups, especially teams in Southeast Missouri having to play at the most inconvenient times ever heard of in my life. So Notre Dame will play June 5th, 10 a.m. If they win, they'll be playing June 6th at 11 a.m. against either New Covenant Academy or the still unknown winner of Class 1 District 4. The polls would suggest that Pembroke Hill is the favorite there, but they're playing Mid Buchanan as I speak to you currently. So I'll check up later in the show here to see if we get a final over there between Mid-Buchanan and Pembroke Hill. But if you ask me, if Notre Dame loses and they play the third place game, that'll be June 6th at 10 a.m. at the Worldwide Technology Soccer Park. That is the name I was looking for. So, early ball games. Really stupid, but I guess kind of nice. You get it over with, and you get to go hang out, go home, go eat some good food in the St. Louis metro area over there in Fenton. And so, yeah, best of luck to Notre Dame. We'll have a little while until they actually play, and so I'll get to talk about it again next week. I'll look more into the matchup, things like that. So I'm excited to do that and excited for those girls to keep playing. Like I said, I genuinely think they have a really good chance to come away with the championship trophy, in my opinion. Now, something else I talked about, but I want to do it just a little bit more concisely, just kind of run through it here, a little quick, but something I talked about the last episode, boys golf. All the championships obviously concluded around the time my show was wrapping while I was recording there this past week. But just to run down all the results I had in Class 2, that's where Saxony is. Bryce Gabler was the lone representative. He shot a 160 over the course of 2 days, a 78 and 82. He finished in 24th place. In Class 4, Cape Central sent 2 golfers. They both performed really well. So the Class 4 tournament was cut in half. First, it rained out the first day, so they said, let's just play one round. So one round scored, Josiah Seaball shot a 72 to finish 4th overall in the state. Super cool. Super cool for him. 4th overall, shot a 72. And then Seth Ferguson, who actually won the district going into state, he shoots a 78. He gets 21st overall. So really good showing by the 2 kids from Cape. Shout out to Josiah. That's a huge showing. And then Seth Ferguson as well, performing really well. Notre Dame, also there in Class 4, they sent the entire team. They won the district tournament as a team. And so they got to send 5 guys. Conditions, things like that, maybe just didn't work in their favor. I don't know. It did not go as well as it did in the district tournament. That is for certain. The high scorer, Tate Shively, or the low scorer, the high finisher, Tate Shively, he shoots an 81 for 45th place. Weston Edwards shot an 86. Gary McMullen shot an 87. Eli Schaefer shot a 90, and Max LeGrand shot a 97. So Notre Dame finishes their season. They get 10th in the team overall standings, but that is how they close out their season. Moving on to, I think, the final thing I have to talk about from this past week, which is track and field. So we had 4 different classifications of track events happening. One of them, or half of them, were at the state meet up in Jeff City. The other half were sectional meets. That was Cape Central and Jackson. They were up in Kirkwood, Missouri, over there, kind of southwestern St. Louis. I will start with the kids at state. All right, so it was Saxony in Class 2, boys and girls, because based on the whole success factor, your teams can actually get split up. What do you think comes to track, which is always kind of a weird deal, but you just got to try to figure out where your kids are at. So Saxony, they sent a pretty good group, 3 boys, several girls up to the state meet up in Jeff City. We'll just kind of run through all of the finishers, how they did. Starting with Maxim Mayhew. Maxim Mayhew, 400 runner, had a really good season. I think he set the school record in the 200, and he had a good year running the 4. In his time there, he went 51-19, pretty in line, consistent with what he has run this season. Unfortunately, that left him 1 spot outside of the final cut. He comes in 9th place overall in the prelims. So he does not make the final, but a 9th place overall out of 16 kids, a good showing there for Maxim. Really good career, really good runner over there for the Crusaders. Speaking of guys, Nashawn Davis, another senior, obviously did not get to end his season the way he wanted to. I believe he kind of posted online he suffered a hamstring injury which just stinks. This time of year, you want to be able to run your best race, and when you have a nagging injury like that, just really, really unfortunate for the kid. He did not qualify. He ran in the 100-meter or the 110 hurdles prelims, but it was not able to qualify for the finals. And then finally on the boys' side, Alan Rudd is a young kid who's going to be around now for a while. I know he made an impact in football. He's had a heck of a season in track as well. He finishes 10th overall in the long jump. He had a jump of 20 feet, 5 1/4 inches to come in 10th place overall. That does it for the boys' side. The girls' side, there were a few more representatives for the Crusaders. We'll just start with the 100-meter hurdles. So in the 100-meter hurdles, you had Cadence Turner. She qualified for the finals. She ends up coming in 8th place there in the 100 hurdles. And then she also was there in the long jump. She finishes 15th in the long jump, 15 feet, 5 1/2 inches, which I believe was a PR for her as well. So shout out to her. Once again, only a freshman. She's another one who's going to be there. And you're probably going to see competing in a lot of sports for a very, very long time to come. Staying with hurdlers, Rena Matthews, she qualified in the 300-meter hurdles to go to state. However, in prelim, she does finish 14th overall, so she did not get to punch her ticket to the state meet. Just going down the line here. So they sent a 4x4 team to the state meet. They also did not qualify for the final, but they did run, I would say, a pretty good race overall. They finished in 12th place in the 4x4, 13th place, time of 4:24.24, 4 minutes, 24 seconds. That 4x4 team was Madeline Hager, Rena Matthews, Cadence Turner, and Rayleigh Matthews. So we get all the Matthews in there together in one event. Then same thing for the 4x8. They finished in 12th place. That was where I mix those numbers up. They finished in 12th place in the 4x8. That group was Adeline Brandhorst, Lydia Hitt, Rayleigh Matthews, and Gretchen Wolf. So obviously did not make the final or, didn't finish on the podium, top 8, but really good showings, in my opinion, there for the Lady Crusaders. Other good performances. You have Rayleigh Matthews. Rayleigh Matthews comes in 7th in the long jump, 16 feet, 9 3/4 inches. So she does get on the podium. Sarah Seaball, also on the podium. She finishes in 5th place in the pole vault with a vault of 10 feet. She actually tied for 5th place. She tied for 5th place with her teammate, Casey Call. Casey Call, I mentioned it a few times, maybe throughout the track season. I know I mentioned it last week. Busy kid when it comes to track meets. She does a little bit of everything for this Saxony team. Really, really good all-around athlete. She qualified in 3 events for the state meet. So she tied with her teammate Sarah Seaball at 10 feet in the pole vault to get 5th overall. So shout out to those girls finishing on the podium there. In the high jump, Casey Call tied for 9th place. And then in the shot put, she finishes 16th with a throw of 30 feet, 8 1/2 inches. So the pole vault, high jump, shot put, not a trio you see very many times. I think she did not qualify in the discus. I think is the only other event she was in sectionals. So really, really good athlete. She's going to be graduating and I believe going to the best university in America, Harding University, if I saw that correctly. So shout out to Casey. Now we can jump up to Class 3. That is Notre Dame, Notre Dame's boys and girls. They sent pretty strong groups in Class 3, and especially on the girls' side, had a big-time showing as a team. But we'll start with the boys. You had a couple guys who were very, very busy. So one of those was Hudson Dennis. Hudson actually competed in 4 different events at the state meet, so that's incredible. Really, really good athlete, multi-sport athlete. He didn't play basketball this year. There's a good chance he would have been darn near their best player in basketball. Would have been their starting center. He's a state champion swimmer. So, he's a great athlete. In the 100, he qualified in 100, the 200. He was also on the 4x1 and the 4x2 teams. All those made it to state. In the 100 meters, he actually finishes in 5th place, qualified for the final, then finished 5th in the championship final, run 11:17. He actually ran a PR of 10:94 in the prelims getting to the finals, just a step below there. Had a little bit of a slow start out of the blocks, in my opinion, but pretty good showing. It was a fast 100 meters there in Class 3. They had some dudes running those short distances in Class 3. Speaking of that, he qualified for the final also in the 200 meters. He comes in 8th place, ran 22:48. Then, since we mentioned it, he was also in the 4x1, the 4x2 teams. The 4x1 team, they also qualified for the final. So Hudson Dennis ran in 3 championship finals all there on the same day. That team comes in 8th place overall, 43:91 was their time. It was made up of Trenton Powell, who also had a very busy day, Dylan Newman, Braden Robert, and Hudson Dennis. The 4x2 team that Dennis was a part of, they came in 12th place in prelims, so they did not advance to the final. But that team was made up of Robert, Dennis Newman, and then Mark Schultz, the only other new name here for the 4x2 compared to the 4x1. They finished 12th overall, a minute 30 seconds there in the 4x2. So I mentioned Trenton Powell. He was a part of the relay team, 4x1. He also went to state in the hurdles, both hurdle events, the 110 and the 300 hurdles. In qualifying, he did well. He was 6th in the 110 and 5th in the 300 hurdles. Unfortunately, it did not carry over to championship Saturday. He had trouble in both. He had a really, really bad crash fall in the 110 hurdles. Wasn't able to finish. Came in 8th place, I believe, in the 300 hurdles as well. Just once again due to having some troubles with the hurdles. But that is kind of the hurdles are a big unknown. You know, they kind of an open race at times. Obviously, if everybody runs clean, a lot of times you know who's the best, but there's always a chance something could kind of go awry. And unfortunately for Trenton, it did happen there on championship Saturday. It really, really stinks for him. He's one of the best in the entire state. He's second best in Southeast Missouri behind the kid who's maybe the best in the entire state, Patrick Slack down in Poplar Bluff. But yeah, he had a heck of a season. It's just tough to end the year that way, but he will be back next season and hopefully be able to kind of avenge some of the troubles he had this year in the finals. On the track, I think we had one more guy. It was Aiden Morris. Aiden Morris is another one. He was in 3 events at the state meet, and all 3 events he was in the finals. His events ran a long way, though. He accumulated some mileage over the course of the weekend. He ran the 1600, the 3200, and also was a part of the 4x8 team as well. So in the 1600, he actually ran a season best 4:22. He came in 8th place there on the podium. Then he finishes in 3rd place in the 3200. He's the high finisher, tied for the high finisher on the boys' side for Notre Dame. He runs a PR of 9:14.83 to come in 3rd place. And his 4x8 team, it was him, Nicholas Dial, Cole Gross, Jackson Jones. That quartet finished in 5th place as a team. They ran 8:08.41 to come in 5th place at the state meet. So shout out to Aiden Morris. Very, very busy weekend for him, but definitely acquitted himself. Had 3 medals there at state, so that's very cool to see. And finally, in the field events, you have Ellis Bruni. I believe I mentioned on the last show or 2 shows ago, he's headed to SEMO, and really, really good pole vaulter. He actually comes in 3rd place at the state meet, finished with a vault 14 feet 11 inches to come in 3rd. His teammate Owen Steigmeyer, he finishes tied for 12th in the pole vault with 11 feet 11 3/4 inches. Shout out to the boys. A lot of good performances, a lot of guys running in a lot of events, so it's always tough to kind of show up and have some pressure on you, have to perform at a high level, and then turn around, get ready to perform at a high level, and then turn around, perform at a high level again. That can be exhausting, obviously physically, but it's tough mentally too. Kind of putting yourself through that, having to show up for your team and these relays, things like that, or show up and kind of prove yourself in a sport where it's very easy to get exposed, right? There's no teammates really in these individual races. There's no teammates. There's nowhere to hide. If you're having a bad day, everybody can see it out there. And so track's a tough sport. Track's a tough sport mentally. It doesn't maybe get as much credit for that as some others do, but you're just out there by yourself. It's a lonely sport in a way. You have great teammates around you, coaches, things like that. It obviously helps, but whenever you get into the blocks, it's you and the whatever it is, 7 dudes around you. So it's a tough sport mentally at times. So shout out to all these kids and the way they perform here, especially at the highest level here at the state meet. So speaking of performing at a high level, we're going to switch over to the girls' side. And Notre Dame, they sent a ton of girls, and they performed quite well. So running through the events, we'll start on the track. In the 200 meters, Jessie Iwuchukwu, she advanced to the finals, so she was able to, going to be on the medal stand. She does finish in 8th place in the 200, 25.74. You jump up to the 800. Annabelle Naughton was there. She finished in 12th in the 800. In the 1600, Lily Coy doing the same as I just mentioned with Aiden Morris. Lily Coy ran the 16 to 32, and she was also part of the 4x8. So she had a very busy weekend as well. In the 16, she finishes 5th overall. She PR'd and ran 5:17.88. In the 3200, similar to Aiden, she finished 3rd in the 32 at the time of 11:36. And then her team in the 4x8, so Notre Dame actually sent every relay, the 4x1, 2, 4, and 8, to the state championships. That 4x8 team, they finished in 6th place with a time of 9:58. That group was Annabelle Naughton, Lily Coy, Amelia Peters, and Victoria Hineos. So shout out to those girls coming in 6th place. Jumping back up to some individuals, Maria Sire. She qualified for the finals in the 100-meter hurdles. She ended up getting 7th place there, 15:67. And then we'll kind of run through these relay teams. So all 4 relay teams were there. The 4x1, they set a new school record to come in 3rd place as a group. That was Sire, Vita, Claire Galati, Grayson Maurer, and Iwuchukwu. All these girls combined there to set a school record, 49:38. There's going to be a lot of familiar names here. A lot of these girls are running in different events, multiple events. In the 4x2, you've got Emmy Gamble, Claire Fouch, Grayson Maurer, Jessie Iwuchukwu. Again, that group runs the second best time in school history. They finished 5th overall. And then finally in the 4x4, Anna Galati, Lily Brotherton, Jessie Iwuchukwu again, and Annabelle Naughton. Jessie had a lot of running. And Annabelle Naughton, they finish in 13th place with a time of 4:13 even in the 4x4. So a lot going on there on the track, but the field events really scored a lot of points from Notre Dame, especially one in particular we'll get to in a minute. In the long jump, you have Galati and Jojo Iwuchukwu, Vita Galati and Jojo Iwuchukwu. They finish in 6th place and 7th place. Iwuchukwu in 6th, Galati in 7th place in the long jump. Then Iwuchukwu comes back over to the triple, and she is a state champion. So shout out Jojo Iwuchukwu, 1st place in the triple jump. Big PR, 38 feet, 2 1/4 inches. She gets 1st place in state, the lone state champion for the Bulldogs. Congrats to her. I mean, congrats to that family. Her and her sister Jessie just all over the track there for them, doing tons and tons of stuff. They scored, and heck, they were a part of almost every point Notre Dame scored. So shout out to those girls. They really got it done when it mattered most. So Jojo, the state champion. Then in 3rd place was Grayson Maurer. She had a PR in the triple, 37 feet, 6 inches. And then finally in 6th place was Claire Fouch, 36 feet, 5 1/2 inches. So Notre Dame goes 1-3-6 in the triple jump. I think I said online that's 19 points combined. Pretty good day at the office. That 19 points combined helped Notre Dame finish second overall in the girls' team scores. So great day at the track. They finished with 50 points as a team, just 3 points behind New Madrid County Central, who finished with 53. So shout out to the New Madrid girls getting it done as well, another Southeast Missouri team. Yeah, so a great weekend for the Notre Dame girls. They perform at a very high level there. Get it done at the state meet with Notre Dame boys. Notre Dame boys finish in 11th place overall, 24 points for the boys team. They tie with El Dorado Springs at 11. So really good showings. Classes 2 and 3, Saxony and Notre Dame did a great job and performed well there at the state meet. Their seasons are over. A lot of careers over. Lily, Coy, Grayson Maurer, both of them are going to be going to Army. They're going to be going to West Point next year. That's really, really cool. Who else did I mention? Anybody else going? I know, obviously, there's seniors. Ellis Bruni, that was the other one I mentioned. He's going to SEMO this next season. So we'll keep moving on. We'll go up to Class 4, as where Cape Central is. I mentioned 4 and 5. They're both at Kirkwood, or Jackson and Cape, that is, in Classes 4 and 5. So on the boys' side, I haven't heard exactly kind of what the deal was. But unfortunately for the Tigers, starting on the boys' side, I mentioned Breon Clemens. Breon Clemens didn't start. I guess it could have been an injury. I'm not sure what it was. He did not run the 100 or the 200. He had a real chance to advance out of both, but that's a tough way to go out on the season. Obviously, he'll be running at the next level as well, Missouri Baptist, but it still stinks. So getting up to middle distance. So in middle distance, you got a 400 runner, Elijah Cheek. Elijah Cheek has been phenomenal. He has taken massive jumps this season. It's been kind of wild to witness, like the leaps he's taken in the 400. Early in the season, those times he ran 52 in March. At the end of March, he ran 51. It's just boom, boom, boom. Then he comes back a month later, no 400s for a month. He drops his time all the way down to 49.68 at Hillsboro. A week later, 49.34. And then here in the sectional, a week later, 48.68. So he has dropped his time by over 4 seconds since March 31st. Since March 31st, he has dropped his 400-meter time by 4.3 seconds even. So there you go. Great showing by him. He comes in first place overall in the sectional, and he puts himself in a really good spot to medal very highly at the state finals. So we'll see. We'll keep track there. In the 110 hurdles, you have Demarion Williams. Demarion Williams, another kid, only a sophomore, like Cheek. Bright future. He does a lot of things. He's a really good all-around athlete. He gets third place in the 110 hurdles with a time of 15:28. And the Tigers have 2 relay teams. The 4x2, unfortunately, will not be advancing. They got 5th place. But the 4x4 team, they will be moving on. That team gets second, 3 minutes, 23 seconds. Like I said, another really good showing there by them. Cheek is a part of that 4x4 team. It is Cheek. It is Aiden Dockery. It is Demarion Williams, and then they have some choices here on who's going to run. I believe Tion Carter was the 4th man there in sectionals. They have a lot of guys listed here as alternates, but I believe that will end up being the 4 that do run for the Tigers. In field events, though, that's kind of where Cape kind of making their hay right now. I mean, it helps when you have the best pole vaulter in the state and also one of the best throwers in the state of Missouri. So speaking of the throwers, Isaiah Husky, he has a big day. He finishes first in the shot put, first in the discus. He will be a, podium favorite going into state and a kid who could mess around and maybe get a gold medal. And another guy who's really opens people's eyes this year, Jamie Adams, he comes in second in the shot put. So Cape goes 1-2 in the shot put there in the sectional. Adams threw 49 feet, 11 inches. He's gone over 50 several times this year. Only a freshman, so big future out of him. He does come in 7th in discus, so he will only be throwing shot. But you got 2 kids in the shot, Husky in the discus. In jumps, you have Jaden Johnson. Johnson, the kid I talked about a lot during basketball season, really good athlete. He comes in second in high jump, and he comes in first in long jump, 22 feet 7 inches in the long jump. Big day by him. And another name I mentioned earlier, Demarion Williams, he gets third in the high jump. You got 2 kids in the high jump, and Johnson by himself in the long. And then finally, Kent Sheridan, he gets first in the pole vault, 15 feet 1 inch at sectionals. We know he can get up to 16 feet. He's done that once this year. I don't know if that will be necessary to win the state title. I can actually look and tell you what the seeds are right now. It's not, 16 might not be needed, but you're going to have to get close up there to 16. You're going to have to be jumping pretty well if he does want to win a state title. He's going to have a couple guys kind of clipping at his heels. Oh, excuse me. If he gets 15 plus, 15 mid, he might be safe. Actually, I take it all back. He might be doing all right, because that's 4.6 meters. The next highest from this past week was 14.56. So, excuse me, Kent Sheridan might be in a good position. But that's something I've kind of been expecting all season. But shout out to him. Gets another first place medal in his tally this year. Now looking over at the girls. Girls had a successful day for the Tigers as well. Obviously, another mainstay, Taraji Riley. She runs the 100, and in the 100 she gets first place, 1173. She is the favorite going into the state meet this next week to win a state title. Only a sophomore, once again, a super talented young kid. And you got to go all the way up to the 800, as where your next qualifier is Danica Marriott. She got fourth place there in 228. Really good showing by her. She's had a really strong close to the year. She'll be at the state meet. So best of luck to Danica. 2 relay teams, both of the sprint relays. You have the Tigers got second in the 4x1. They got fourth in the 4x2. I expect Taraji Riley to be a part of that 4x1 at the least. They ran 48.86. That is a strong team. I kind of expect them to be on the medal stand. Then, another girl who had a really strong day individually, Layla Bergfeld. Layla Bergfeld got third in the discus and third in the javelin, so she'll be throwing a couple of different disciplines there at the state meet. That is really, really cool to see. Elsewhere in the jumps, Cape Central will be advancing they'll be advancing 3 total girls in the jumps. In high jump, Kaden Kern got fourth place, 4 feet 11 inches. Unfortunately, Scarlett Whitvet, her fellow freshman teammate, jumped 4.9, just a hair underneath what she needed to be. In the long jump, In the long jump, Taraji Riley got first place, 19 feet 8 inches. Once again, she is a favorite to be right in gold medal contention there in the long jump. 19 feet 8 inches is very, very good. Her teammate Aaliyah Jackson does come in 7th with 16 feet 7 inches. So 1 high jumper, 1 long jumper. Whoops. So, really good showing by the Tigers. They performed well. That's another team I expect. I expect them to have a few pretty good performances. I think they're going to have a couple kids in gold medal contention. Obviously, the Sheridans and Taraji Rileys of the world are the favorites. I mean, you've got a lot. Isaiah Husky, who's in the mix there at the top of the throws. So the Tigers have a good shot to make some noise here once we get to this Class 4 state championship meet. Wouldn't be surprised to see them come home with a lot of hardware. And finally, Class 5, Section 1. You've got the Jackson Boys and Girls program. Starting with the boys, the Indians had a really, really good day. On the boys' side, I mean, you know what to expect, right? You've got 2 brothers who are 2 of the best in the state in the 100, 200, and the 400. So that's obviously going to always give them a big leg up when it comes to levels up until you get to the state meet. Obviously, it's going to get a lot tougher there, but the Indians rolled out both Reagans, Barrett and Blaine, in the 100. Barrett got first in 10.68. Blaine got second in 10.80. And then they changed it up. So Barrett and Blaine both qualified in the 200 and the 400 as well. But the coaching staff, I guess, in an effort to have them as fresh as they can be, scratched one out of, each one. So in the 200, Blaine did not run. Blaine did not run in the 200. Barrett did. Barrett got first place in 21.14. In the 400, Barrett did not run the 400. So it's just Barrett by himself in the 2, and it's just Blaine by himself in the 4. Blaine got first place. Really, really tough race. Kid from CBC PR'd by like a second. It was a photo finish. Blaine did get first in 47.37. Big time run by him. But it's going to be needed. We saw it last year. He's got a lot of competition in the 400. Same with the 200. A kid ran like 20.7 from Kansas City this past weekend. So if he does that again, he's going to win a state title. But Barrett and Blaine are going to be right there. In the end, they're going to be some of the favorites to, be top 2, top 3 in the 200 and the 400 and the 100 as well. Barrett has the fastest time in the state of Missouri in the 100 this year. I think he has the second fastest time now in the 200, and Blaine has the second fastest time in the 400 this year. So a lot of opportunities for those kids to perform. And then also as a team, or part of a team, they got first in the 4x100, 41-46, along with Jalen Hampton and Memphis Maddox there in the 4x1. Other individuals. So in the 300 hurdles, Jackson has 2 kids going to state. Memphis Maddox comes in first place in 39.74. Gage Parker comes in second place in 39.92. Both of them would be going to the state meet. I mentioned the 4x1 team. Also, the 4x8 team will be advancing for the Indians as well. Good day for Jackson there. Individually, Nate Meisner did come in 7th place in the 800, which I'm sure was frustrating for him, especially after running a 157 the week before. Had a really good showing there, but he is a part of the 4x8 team that will be going to the state meet, and I'll get those names to you here in about 5 seconds. It is Nate Meisner, Aiden Nabalski, Carter Sander, and Tower Iwin. So Ewin, they advanced in 4th place there. They ran 7:59, really good time. Really good time for the Indians there in the 4x8. But it will be tough once you get to the state meet. So I mean, it's going to be a big time meet here this upcoming weekend. Class 4 and Class 5 are really no joke. Class 5 has some monsters that the Indians are going to run up against. I was looking at some of the names, kind of what the seed list looks like, and it's going to be some big time races. I've told you the times that the Reagans, for example, have run this year, and they're going to have some big time competition. So like in the 100, as far as just this past week, you have 4 kids all ran in the 10.5 range this past week. So the Reagans are going to have to put up some big time numbers if they even want to get to the finals in the 100. I mean, you're going to have to go. I don't think 10.9 doesn't get to the final in Class 5, which is crazy to say, but I don't think 10.5 will get to the final in Class 5. Anyway, let me look over at the girls' side of things this past week here for the Indians. They will be advancing a few up to the state meet. So in the 200, Anaya Bonzi did come in 7th place. She won't be advancing, but a nice showing, especially really good close to the year for her. Hallie King, another one, just came up just short. She gets 5th place in the 800 at sectionals. Then in the 1600, she did not start there. She scratched out of the 16. Her teammate Emma Nivolsky did run. She comes in 7th place in the 16, so she will not be advancing there, unfortunately. In or elsewhere. The Indians had Kendall Leland. She was in the 300 hurdles. She comes up just short as well. She comes in 6th place, but she did set a PR 58:52. The 4x1 team, another one, just came up a hair short. They came up in 5th place. That was Bonzi Williams, Maria Haynes, and Beckley Getz. In the 4x2, however, they will be advancing. They get 4th place. It is Bonzi, who I mentioned, Stella Roosler, who I have not, Brooklyn Williams, and Beckley Getz there in the 4x2. In the 4x4, they come in 6th place. And then in the 4x8, they did not qualify there either. However, the Indians have one girl who is having a heck of a season. So that is Katarina Elfson. So Elfson is one of just the best all-around throwers you'll see. So in the shot put, she got 4th place at a throw of 35 feet, 2.5 inches. She will be advancing there. In the discus, she had a throw of 123, 4 inches, which is a PR, and she'll be advancing there. She gets 2nd place. In the javelin, she got 1st place with a throw of 139.7. So Kat Ellison will be advancing in the discus, the shot put, and the javelin. Not something you see a lot of, but she is a big-time athlete. And also shout out to her because she is going to Louisville this next season. She's a senior. I didn't know kind of what level she's at nationally, things like that as far as throwing goes. I didn't know where she was recruiting-wise, things like that. But she will be going to Louisville this next season, so that's super, super cool. She just posted about that this past week. It's over in the pole vault. You have 2 girls going for the Indians, Lily Morningstar and Amelia Fox. They both tie for 3rd place. They both jumped 10 feet, 4 inches. Lily's been jumping really well of late. She's been improving quite a bit here as the season progresses. And then finally, in the long jump, Brooklyn Williams, who I mentioned as a part of a couple of the relays the Indians ran, she does win the long jump at the sectional meet. She jumped 17 feet, 6.25 inches to come in 1st place there and punch her ticket to the state championship. So the Indians have a good group going. The Cape Central Tigers have a good group going. You can watch it all on the Misha TV. I think it's you pay technically for classes 1 through 6, I believe. At least that's what I did this past week, kind of watch and keep up with everything that was going on. But I think it was $15. But once again, like I said, I was paying for classes 1 through 6, 2 weekends worth. I'm not sure if that changes now that weekend is over with. But go check it out and go watch these guys and girls run. They've put in a lot of work. It's been really, really fun to see. If you want to go watch it in person, it will be at Jeff City Friday and Saturday of this week. So go check it out there. I think it just about does it as far as recap and preview goes. I do have several end-of-show shout-outs. It's kind of where I use the time to talk about maybe others outside of the areas, whatever's going on, college stuff. And so with the college stuff, people signing, whatnot, you had, I don't remember if I mentioned this, Aiden Dockery and Torrance Murray, a couple of kids from Cape, signed to run at Mineral Area College next season. Murray also was a very, very good running back for Cape Central this past year. For the Indians, Kaylee Milam, state champion for the Jackson girls. She's the first ever female state champ for Jackson. The first individual period, boy or girl, to win a state title for the Indians since 2009. She signed with Wartburg College to wrestle at the next level. So really, really cool for her, really cool opportunity. And the Indians now, I believe that's a couple of girl wrestlers that have signed to keep wrestling at the next level. It's really cool to see. Another Indian who hasn't made a college decision yet, but he's in the process of it, that is Braden Harris. So Braden Harris announced a new top 3. It is Arkansas, Kansas State, and the University of Central Florida. So really interesting, very diverse top 3. I know Mizzou was on his original top 3 list. They're no longer. I know UFC has kind of started to make a big push. They were up here this past week, I believe, week or 2 weeks ago. Their offensive line coach was here in person. And I saw a post. He's going to take visits to all three before making a decision. He's going to be visiting all June. I don't know when the decision is. That's totally his thing to talk about on his own. But best of luck to that young man. I want the best for him regardless of where he goes. I want our Southeast Missouri kids, especially our really local kids here, to succeed. So wherever that is for him, I hope he finds the right place. Selfishly, I'm saying Arkansas because go Woo Pig, go Hogs. Also, new coaching staff. Things might be looking up. They might not, but they might be looking up. Shout out to Coach Ryan Silverfield. But it is what it is. And then finally, let's see. I think that's it on the college side of things. I do want to give a shout out to a few different people and other teams. I mentioned New Madrid County Central. They won the overall championship in Class 3 as a team on the girls' side. The shout out I want to give is to one girl in particular on the team, Amaya Bills. Amaya Bills is a junior, so she has another season of track left. If memory is correct, like I said, I watched the entire Class 1, 2, 3 track meet the other day. Amaya Bills is now up to 9 championships in track and field. She has won 9 medals. Sprinting, 100, 200. She's a jumper. She got gold in long jump, long or triple. I'm sorry, I don't remember which one. She's a gold medalist in jumping, and then their 4x1, maybe 4x2 team also has won a gold or two there as well. So, which makes sense when you have her and Aranji Jackson that were both in the finals in the 100. So, shout out to Amaya Bills. What a career. Only a junior. So, shout out to her. Finally, Kennett girls softball. They got second in state. Shout out to them. They beat Thayer in the semis. They did lose 3-0 to Skyline in the championship game. But we did have a state champion just I went up like that. Just north of here. Oak Ridge. Oak Ridge wins a state title in softball here in the spring. They go 27-0. They beat Plato 8-3 in the semifinals. They beat Kingsville 3-1 in the championship game. Awesome. 27-0, perfect season. I mean, Kaylin Deckard is maybe the greatest athlete in Southeast Missouri history. Only a sophomore, by the way. She's just going to break every single record ever in girls softball and going to maybe be one of the best softball players to ever come out of the state of Missouri. I do say that without the knowledge of really anybody in particular. It's a softball player from the state of Missouri. But she's unbelievable. She's a monster. I mean, she hit like 20 home runs or something like that this season. She won every game she pitched, obviously. She has like a 0 ERA. She threw like 10 perfect games, and she's unbelievable. She's I mean, maybe you could probably say the best athlete in Southeast Missouri, one of them. It's crazy. The stuff that she's doing, the stuff her team's doing, it is otherworldly. So shout out to them. She's only a sophomore. She's got 2 more years. And they go 27-0, win the state title. Shout out to Oak Ridge. Congrats to those girls for getting it done. That's huge. Oak Ridge, state title. Not something you see a lot of. So shout out to Oak Ridge, man. Yeah, I think that's it. I think I'm done. I think I'm done rambling. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. As always, like, subscribe, do all that. Tell your friends. Tell a friend. If ever, if there's ever any info you want to get to me, hit me up in the DMs, either Exit 99 Sports on all social media pages, or you can look me up personally, Caleb DeLoach, anywhere, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, other places. Find me. I'm there on all social media platforms as well. Any corrections, send them my way. Anything like that, I appreciate it. Always appreciate people reaching out, people talking. Always feel free to hit me up, and if you see me in public, I'm available to talk about whatever, any sport you want to talk about, I can do it. Otherwise, yeah, we're about done. We've got a week to 2 weeks, I guess, of sports left, and we will be wrapping up. Oh yeah, we're not done. I forgot the thing I was going to mention. Notre Dame is in the sectionals for boys baseball. They had like a wreck. It's called a minor, they had a car wreck. Their bus was in a car wreck, going to sectionals against North County. When that game is going to be played. I'm not sure as of now. Obviously, you guys will know. Yeah, some minor injuries. Most everybody, what I was told, most everybody's okay. Just keep all the kids and coaches and families, stuff like that in your prayers. Think about them. Thoughts, prayers, etc. It's a lot to think about, a lot to figure out. So, I mean, that's a scary deal. A bunch of kids on a bus, man, trying to just go play a fun game, and something scary like that happens. It's not cool. Not probably really scary for the parents of the kids, things like that too. So, I know I'm related to one of the coaches, so that was kind of crazy to see. But yeah, that's a wild situation. So check out. That's also what I say all the time. Hey, follow our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. I'm always going to share stuff I see from any teams, things like that, schedule changes or these commitments that I talk about, stuff like that for college, highlights, anything, send them my way, tag me and stuff. I'll share them, stuff like that. So appreciate it. Appreciate you all watching. Appreciate you listening. It's always fun to keep doing this. And as we get into the summer, I am now committed to, we're filming, recording interviews with coaches and other people. So we will have some of those start coming out as the actual action ends. I'll have something for you guys to keep watching here throughout the summer to keep you up to date and keep you entertained until we get back around to the fall season. But yeah, we're just about here closing up shop in the spring. So it's been a really, really fun year. We got a little bit of time left, so hang with me. We're about done, but I thank you guys as always and appreciate it. So have a good one. We'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.